Hello, 7th graders, and congratulations on deciding to do the extra credit budget project. Here are the directions that you're going to see on Canvas. So for those of you that don't know, a budget is a plan for how to spend money. So in your adult life, you're going to have expenses, things that are going to cost you, so like gas, groceries, any bills to pay are expenses. And then you'll also have income. This is the money you earn at a job. So it's good to start thinking about money even in 7th grade. Maybe in high school you'll have a car or gas or a job. Maybe you'll help your family out. So it's good to plan ahead for these things and know how to make a budget. This way you're not in debt and you can use your money wisely. So for this project, you are going to imagine you're in high school with a job and a car of your own, contributing to family expenses. So I want you to consider, what do you purchase at the grocery store? How much do those things cost? How often do you make online purchases? How much does that cost? What activities do you do for fun that cost money? Those activities could include going out to eat. They could include sports, any items you need to purchase for sports, really any hobbies. So video games, anything that costs money that you're going to be buying things for. So part 1 of this project is expenses. So for part 1, you're going to be thinking of what kind of things cost money. For this project, I want you to think of in a week, and then we're going to multiply that by 4 to get expenses for a month. So there's about 4 weeks in a month. Now this direction page is set up to use Google Sheets. If you want to use Google Sheets and follow these directions, go for it. Honestly, that's what most adults use. They use Google Sheets, Excel spreadsheet, or some sort of app where we just enter in the numbers and then the sheet calculates it for us. But it's really just multiplying by 4 and adding and subtracting. So if we're rounding to the nearest dollar, I think you guys can totally handle it with using a calculator. All right, after this slide, I'm going to show you what it might look like on a piece of graph paper to do your budget plan and your expenses. But real quick to finish the directions, after you get your expenses, you're going to estimate an income. So realistically, what job do you plan to have in high school? I know there's a Dairy Queen nearby that some students work at. There's like Chick-fil-A or lots of different food places where students can work. So Google what wage they would start at. Realistically, think how many hours a week can you work? So if you're working after school or weekends, realistically, how many hours is that? It's probably going to be like 20 as a part-time job. So research the hourly wage, calculate how much you would earn in a week, and then again, we're going to multiply that by 4 to get the month. So you'll see in my next slide the example where you'll enter your income, and then really the whole goal of this project is to figure out what's left. So after we calculate our expenses, we're going to add up to find the total. After you get your weekly income, you're going to multiply by 4 to get your monthly income. And then to get what's left, that's where you do your monthly income minus your total expenses. That's how you get what's left. That's the whole goal of this project. After you do that, you're going to just answer some reflection questions. How did you decide what expenses to include? Are there any you excluded? What information did you have to look up when completing the project? So that might be what kind of expenses did you look up? You are going to look up the hourly wage, so tell me what job you looked up. And then the last one is, how might your budget change as you enter adulthood? So as an adult, there's going to be a lot more expenses than the expenses you have in high school, but you'll hopefully also be making more money because you'll be working more hours as an adult. So that might be how it changes, just to give you some ideas. You can answer these on the back of your graph paper. Okay, so I set up here what a graph paper might look like. So I got budget at the top, and then this is my list of expenses. I'm going to draw a line here, and I'm going to estimate what all of those expenses are going to be. So gas, if I'm just driving to and from school, to and from work, You can ask your parents, but that's probably about $30 a week. Also, we're going to have week, and then we're going to multiply by 4 to get month. Okay, so gas, about $30 a week. Groceries, maybe $50 a week. Again, ask your parents. You can estimate. Think of what you buy at the grocery store. Prices have also gone up lately, so a bag of apples is now like $5. Okay, online purchases, you can probably check this with your own purchase history, but this would include Amazon, this would include Temu or Shein or any online thing you're using. For myself, I know I probably buy one thing a week on Amazon, and most things I buy are about $25, so that would be online purchases for me. Gifts, if you get your friends gifts, your parents gifts, birthday gifts, anything like that, this is a category that fluctuates throughout the year. For example, we might spend more money on gifts in December than we do the rest of the year. For now, I'm going to ignore that category. If you choose to include it, please tell me why in a reflection, and if you choose to exclude it, you can also tell me why in the reflection that you excluded it. Okay, a phone payment. Most phone bills are close to $100 a month. Check with your parents. That might also be something they don't expect you to pay in high school. They might still be paying your phone for you. So check with them how much it costs, if they would make you pay that in high school, etc. Okay, clothes are a separate category here than online purchases. If you shop for clothes online, you don't have to include clothes. Honestly, I haven't bought new clothes in a while, so I'm not going to include that in my budget. Okay, activities I talked about in the directions. That could be going out to eat. That could be any kind of sports you play, equipment you need for that sport, any hobbies really, so video games, etc. That's going to fluctuate depending on who you are. You should fill in a number there. Don't skip that category. I know my main activity is probably going out to eat or getting coffee. So pretty low budget there. I'm just going to say 20. Okay, and then anything else you can think of would go in the other category. It's always good to have an other category in your budget because there's always something that you forget you have to pay for that comes up that you have to pay for anyway. As an adult, a category you might have is like health. So anytime you go to the doctor, it costs money, or the dentist. I have a health category in my budget. I also have a gym category in my budget. I pay a monthly gym membership. So just some more things you might have as an adult. Okay, so after you get all your expenses, you're going to add them up for the total expenses. So I'm going to add up 30 plus 50 plus 25 plus 100 plus 20. That should be $225. Okay, then you're going to start thinking of your income. So I looked up a job at Culver's. You can start at about $12 an hour. Now, if you were able to work, say, 20 hours a week, that's going to come to $240 a week. Okay, now we're going to multiply both of these by 4 to get the monthly cost. So 225 times 4 is 900. And 240 times 4 is 960. So then to find what's left in a month, I'm going to do 960 minus $900, and I would have $60 left in a month in my budget. So that $60 you can choose to save up, put in a savings account. We did just learn about interest. You could earn some free money on your money you keep in the bank. Or some people choose to treat themselves with that extra money they have in their budget. So after you do the budget, you're going to reflect on the questions. What did you include? What did you exclude? How did you decide what expenses to include and exclude? What information did you have to look up? So I looked up how much a beginner wage at Culver's is per hour. That was $12 an hour. And then how might your budget change as you enter adulthood? All right, you can turn this into the budget project in our modules, and that's going to be 12 formative extra credit points.